So bad. Alright, let's do it. I love me some Sonic and chill these days. Alright, alright. It's not bad. We're all good. Ooh. I'm doing this to be in good habits. Be in good habits about what I gotta do. What I know I need to do. Wrong folder. Just picking out where we at. There we go. Woo! Well, I hope I look good. Damn, the the morning light, side light through the window. I did some push-ups last night. I don't look too bad. Yeah, level start. Okay. Where are we with this stuff? This is all mixed up, but here we go. Okay. So Stalfos, Link v Stalfos is happening. Alright, yeah, that's the start. We'll just continue. I've got about an hour and a half budgeted to make a little progress. That's it. My wife is in Norway. My kids are at our friend's house doing a sleepover with their daughter. It's best case scenario for productivity. I should have done... I had it all planned in my mind that I would do like some sort of 24-hour stream. I'll talk to myself a little bit. I wanted to do like this is so conducive to me because I'm so used to like talking to myself in the mirror and be like, Max, you gotta do all this stuff. I'm like, yeah. It's like my whole psyche is a very Fight Clubby kind of like, well, gee, what did I get up to last night? Oh my god, I don't even remember doing that, and stuff like that. So, hey, Inferno. Hey, it's great to have anybody listening, but I'm just talking about how incredibly insane I am. And then, so what's happening right now is that because my wife is in a fucking country on the opposite side of the planet, Norway, tracing her Norwegian roots with her sister, my kids are not far away. They're sleeping over at a friend's house, our best friend's house, and I'm all to myself. And I'm like, last night I was like, I'll just stream until I'm silly. And instead, what I got done was I got drunk and watched Predator 2, and I don't remember falling asleep, although I did a good job of that. And so now I'm waking up, I'm like, I need to do a stream, and I need to do something, so here I am. I'm just a little bit... I'm freshly showered. I'm fresh as a daisy. And all is good. And I'm in good spirits, and all that is important. But, we're in for... I'm not trying to be the world's most entertaining artist on Twitch right now. I'm just going to try and grind it out a little bit. But thanks for joining. As much or as little as you please. It's not a big deal. And I hope you're doing okay. It's a wonderful Sunday in my eyes. Alright, let's see here. Coming back to Link, and we're just lighting everything up. Okay. Let's see if I remember how to do this. To add blue light, we add light to the RGB, and then we add a little extra blue. It's about as simple as that. Oop, that's the wrong brush. We're going to ease into it. There we go. And we don't worry about whether or not the light... We don't worry about whether or not It's the right color brightness or the right intensity. We're looking for the relationship. It just occurred to me that I want this to be like a modern day Bob Ross. What's the modern day Bob Ross? I don't know if I quite qualify. I'm too good looking to be the modern day Bob Ross. No, Bob Ross was so rizzy as hell. But that was for the era that he originated. When did the joy of training start? Now I gotta look it up. Started in 1983. This looks like the kind of guy that if my mom met it at, like, this guy could have been my dad if he met my mom. Look at the Riz. That's insanity. Look at that smile. There we go. Hey, Leica. I just had a revelation that I want this to be like a Bob Rossi kind of... Am I wrong, or am I, like, totally subconsciously just trying to channel a little bit of the Bob Ross, right? Right? Because I don't have any gray up here. I should get a fucking perm. That's what I should do. Because I have gray down here, but not up here. But I can't grow a beard, so that's the problem. I'm not sure a perm would work. But that's pretty amazing for him. Put that aside, but that's all good. All right, all right. Sort of like how Bob Ross sort of took the intimidation out of painting and art and composition. How do you have less gray hair than me? How old are you? You don't have to say. You could give a range. I'm 41. And for context, my younger brother, Boxer, he has, like, he looks like Doctor Strange. He has so much gray hair. And he's 7 years younger than me, which is crazy. And I have gray hair, like, there's two. There's two. I don't dye my hair at all, or anything like that. Oh, you're going gray fast. Yeah, my grandpa, on my dad's side, went gray at 19, and he was like trademarked for having silvery hair at a crazy young age. That might be an exaggeration, but he's always had like the silveriest hair I've ever seen on a person, but my mom's dad, my maternal grandfather, I don't think I've ever seen him with gray hair until he died. He died at like 79 or something like that. So hopefully I got some of that in me. Get it from my dad. He was halfway gray already when I was born. Yeah. Children and gray hair go hand in hand. It's my intuition. All right, let's paint out. Let's give Link some blue light on his skin. It's gonna resist it a little bit, I think. It's not extreme. We don't have to knock it out of the park on the first try. I attribute my lack of gray hair and somewhat youthful. If I could compliment myself, I don't look that bad for 41. But being an artist helps you not grow up. That's for sure. I certainly feel mentally and emotionally resistant to it. Despite it all. Despite all the trials and tribulations. Like it, it's been a while. Have you seen where we were at with some of these things? It's not the world's biggest deal. I know it's a Sunday. We're all just dipping in and out, but like this looks like this. I'm not sure if you've seen the latest. You know, it's okay if you don't check out the VODs. It's okay. There's been some simplifications. I'll go and yeah, we've made some progress on some of these things. And yeah, the Lambola is totally finished here. I'm doing my best to here's something that's been happening is well, nothing's been happening, but I've been well, I'll be honest, keep forgetting my shortcuts. Okay, I can drag it around. There's no serious issue, but the it's interesting. The schedule that I attempted to start with is threatened by the real work that continues to plague my real life. Is and I don't want it to be, but in real ways, the stream is threatened. Hey, cool. Hey, people are here. Why is anybody awake on Sunday morning? It's all good. All right. We're not looking at this. We're at the real thing. But what I've been trying to tell myself is to not feel like I need to rush anything out to the socials or Instagram. Partly because I put it out there and people are like, I don't know what I'm supposed to think about. Like, is it weird? Like if a pro puts stuff out in a place where it's supposed to be like, hey, I'm like not a pro and I'm looking for a boost, and people love that, and then a pro steps in and they're like, yeah, I don't know what to do with a pro when I'm used to boosting, you know, I don't know what's supposed to happen. I'm so awkward with the personal promotion stuff. So it's dumb, but anyway. You're awake early, yes. I feel like you'd be really good at doing, because I'm an adult with 2 daughters who won't let me sleep in past 8 a.m. Oh, but I didn't know you had daughters. That's amazing. And I've got 2 kids, 4 and 7. And twice in the past 7 days, I've had to play Tooth Fairy. That's how stressful my life is. 10 and 5. Okay, so we're like on the same kind of spectrum-y. Like, for it like my daughter has like 8 loose teeth, and she's lost 2 in the last 5 days. It's crazy. And like she just had picture day. So I would be great with the trading card stuff, but here's me making the portfolio for that, you know. What would be better than a Zelda playing card game? Like, you know, they make like, what is it, Settlers of Catan? Is that what the game is? You can tell I haven't played it, but I know of it. But like a tabletop RPG, but it's like Zelda. How fucking cool is that? Trying to you get away with a quarter? Shit, I gotta put $5 up. But what I do is I go to her piggy bank and I steal the same $5. I just steal the same $5. My kids are richer than I am. More cash in their piggy banks than in my wallet. The Nintendo lawsuit that follows causes Nintendo to be a pain in the ass. Well, I'm not gonna do it myself. Nintendo is, I mean, like, historically, they've been, like, the world's biggest pain in the ass, but, like, they're loosening their sphincter and learning the pleasure of licensing. You know, the movie stuff is a huge thing. Like, I feel like they got so burned with the original Super Mario Brothers movie, which needs redemption. Like, that fucking film was awesome. But aside from that, the reality is there's so much money to be made, and like I can ride a bike to Universal Studios Hollywood. Like, I'm that close. Like, we have a season pass. And, like, the amount of people that are buying Mario merchandise there is inexplicable. Like, it is... There was, like, the Simpsons versus Mario trade-off is like this now. And it's all Mario. Everybody loves Mario. The capacity for the Latin Americans adopting Mario as their mascot, it's like it's not a mascot thing. That's not a racial thing. But I live in Southern California. Disneyland is expensive to all hell. And it's far away, and we don't go there. And it's in Anaheim, and all that is like deep, you know, I don't know. There are political ramifications. But they're here in Universal Studios. It is lovely. It's lovely, and I love it. And I'm very much a like, all of a sudden I'm a Super Nintendo guy. All right, we got to do something. We got to be productive. I've got an hour and a half to make this happen. Yeah, Nintendo has to obviously let them make them money. Nintendo, let me make money for you. I will give you the money. Well, maybe something like this could convince them. I'm sure it wouldn't, but... the color of this shield is almost completely gray. We just add light in even proportions, and then add blue. And then here, and here, on these straps, I mean, these are technically leather straps. We won't stress it too much. It's always more about the value. And everything's dark right now. It just is dark, but like we're starting with the lowest sources of light, and then we build up to the greatest sources of light. The greatest sources of light in this equation, so the next greatest source of light that will be relevant, at least for this approach, is going to be the laser beam coming off this eyeball. There's going to be this line of laser beam. And in the game, we see it. Like, laser beams typically are invisible, so you just ignore them. But if we want to make them cinematic, we throw a bunch of haze and fog and or mist to catch the laser beam, and that looks cool. So we'll do that. And then from that, there will be light that will bounce around, and we'll draw that in. And then finally, there is this wonderful... Oh, I just thought of a third thing. Or a fourth thing. The third thing is this. There's a fire over here. This fire will illuminate the scene in a kind of like warm fireplace light from the back. That'll be cool. And then I was just thinking, like, what if like this pool of water was glowing? Like you can barely see it, but it's like a... Like there's a drain pipe, essentially, like a tunnel, and water spilling out of it and pooling down here. And that could be glowing. That would be kind of cool. All kinds of fun things. Pick the color. Adding blue light. That's all we need to do right now. Because it's sort of like this soft diffused light, where Link is sort of blocking it, generally, it's sort of hidden by his body here at the back, so it's just not going to be as intense as over here. Even though the shape of the shield sort of curves to catch more light on the far end, well, Link is blocking it on the far end. So I feel like this is a decent look so far. And that's not all said and done. Like, we have lots to do, but this is a good start. Ultimately, the composition and, like, where we need the image to invoke the emotional response, connect to the audience, that dictates where we put the contrast. That's everything. Okay. All right. Link is to my satisfaction. We move on to the BMOS. It's kind of cool. Like, I drew this. It's mostly blocked by the skeleton, but it has this cool architecture that I totally spelled out. Can I turn all that off? Let's see here. That's funny. I didn't paint in that little section. Why don't I do that? Well, it's hidden, but that doesn't mean... Because what may happen... What's happening? There must be some... The color I'm picking is not the color. Oh, it was just a brush issue. Just fill that in. I don't like little bits of loose ends. Yes, 99% of the time they don't matter, but sometimes that stuff comes back to bite you. And it's totally plausible that I'll need to nudge the skeleton that's blocking it up, down, left, right, change its size. And then I will regret not bothering to, like, it's not like this is actually that hard. Not the way I'm doing it. Taking the extra couple minutes to paint the whole thing and then just have it as a separate layer, it gets blocked or not, like... Having that information won't hurt me. And it won't detract too much from my overall... Like, whatever. Like... Let the thing be what it wants to be. It's a very directory thing to say, but... Oop. Wrong tool. We're mostly using a kind of airbrushy tool. Tapered detail air. Comes standard in Painter. Tablet Story says, "Oh no, I get it. I understand 100%. I just know artists who draw the background last, so everything's lost and parted if they're gone. Yeah, I get it. I've been writing this new book, and I'm throwing in all the details, however big or small, just having my toolbox or call back to do things with. Yeah, why? Like, why not?" With like enough mileage, you realize it's like, oh, almost all this stuff is just completely modular. Like this cool story element that didn't work in this story, like perfect fit for something else. Here's me not doing an exemplary job of adding the... Oh shit, yeah. Do a little better. Oh, that's funny. Oh, never mind. It's not that it's like it's not, I don't consider it necessarily best practices. It's just, this is an element in the background that I consider to be part of the story. So it's not something that it's not trivial at all. Like, oh, it could be this, or it could be that, or it could be anything, or whatever, make it ambiguous. Like, the Beamos is it's like a undefeatable bad guy in the Zelda series, and if I treat it with no respect, like, this thing has killed me many times in my life. In my life, the body count on the Beamos is substantial. So it's just not something that I feel is it's not like, oh, well, who cares if, like, I didn't put enough leaves on that tree, you know, or, oh, that whatever doesn't look realistic enough. It's like, who cares? It's like, okay, well, the Beamos, like, I give a shit about. But you have complete, so you could always recycle it. Yeah, I have it complete. I get a satisfaction from drawing things well. And if I mean, it's like, this is my project, and if I whiff it out of laziness and it bites me in the ass, like, I have myself to blame. No one's up my butt saying, get it done now. Like, it's me as producer, and it was optional. Made of coarse stone though it is, I feel like there's definitely some parts that I'm like, okay, well, I'll just skip over some of that, but I feel like some cool kinds of highlights might be fun. I don't want to go crazy with it. Get that with 1 million? 1 million words written. You are so funny. And only 120... Oh, only 120k published. I try to pride myself in finishing to my best ability before posting, yes. This has been... Like, I posted that Land Mola sketch, and instantly I was like, I see all these things I want to fix. And I'm like, holy moly. Like, just... pause a little bit. Like, sleep on it for like a week before you post the next thing, so you don't continue to embarrass yourself with stuff. And like the Landmo was a great sketch, or a you know, like there's not like a ton I'm trying to fix, but it's like I'm like, if I had thought about it, I would have slept on it for a few more streams. I think I would have found what it was that needed to get fixed. And it's not like a need, it's just like okay, like some things I could have bothered to do that I didn't. And I wish I did. That's all. This is so dark. Like, who even cares? But what we can't appreciate now is that down the road, when I tweak the brightness contrast, yeah, maybe Talbot, you can relate. It's like, you know, the words you're typing are not necessarily the final formatting and editing, and you just know that, like, yes, things get finessed over time, and it's not something that like the initial output is the end product. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it works out like that way. Great, I'm sure. But that's more the exception than the rule. Why is that dark? It kind of looks good though. Adding light, then adding blue. Looks good. Oh. Adding light, adding blue. There we go. Just trying to see what can the scene look like somewhat realistically if we are shining a dim blue light as if it was attached to the forehead of the camera. Turn the... Oops. Here we go. There we go. Starting to see the scene. Oh man, I hadn't even saved. Let's do iterative save. Oop. So I want to see the scenes progressing, not just overwriting each other. All right. One thing that's true that I really can't really make out what's in the background with all these characters in front of it. I'm going to turn everything off. And that's a little extreme, but I'm going to do it. Here we get a good demonstration of the linear quality. The layered... Oh, wait, never mind. Apparently I didn't even... Oh, I have some. Okay. Okay, I thought that maybe I had drawn out the background to some extent, but apparently I didn't. Okay, we're gonna undo all the stuff I just did. Turn everything back on. And deal with that which I have wrought. Turn on the lines, the flats, the lines, the flats. The lines, the flats. The lines and the flats. Nearly there. The lines. And the keys flats. Okay. Save it one more time. Alright. We'll draw in a little bit of light into the background, but it's not going to be a lot because the light in the background is being blocked by the figures in the foreground. So it's really going to be sparse. Select the color. So dark, it's nearly black. But when things are so dark, adding just the smallest amount of light and color makes such a big difference. If I'm doing it right. There it is, okay. What is that? Something structural there. Here. Turn it into a circle. A sphere. Going blind, trying to see what I'm trying to paint, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Zelda has these fun, colorful dungeons. Like you'll be in a dungeon that's purple. Like that's the color that's on the walls. The stone is purple. The walls are purple. The walls are green. The walls are whatever, so... Make all that work. We have to honor it. It's not Zelda if it's just it's like if you go to Game of Thronesy on the Zelda aesthetic, it's like more like Elden Ring or something, right? Something like that. Okay. And then here's the water. Gotta make that reacting. Is the water gonna reflect a lot of blue? Maybe. Keeping the relationship and adding blue. I just want it to read as water, if anything else. If nothing else. Okay, that helps. And then the fire here, we're not going to color as blue. It's its own light source. It can't be colored. Alrighty, let's see here. I'm not really feeling quite up to making the laser beam the focus. I feel like I'll get more traction out of the starting out on the fire first. Then again, it could be its own stream if I made that clear delineation, but let's see. Let's check in. Make sure my kids are okay. They're not crying for daddy. Alright, everything is good. Let's keep going. Okay, well, this may shock and dismay, but those who were not here for the really eye-opening stream the other day, I am quite colorblind. Yeah. Yeah. You know when you, like, complete a video game? You're like, oh, I beat the game. Yes. And then it, like, gives you your completion score. And it's like, holy shit, I only got, like, a 32% or something like that. You're like, I thought I poured 40 hours into this thing. This was me with, like, Assassin's Creed 2. I was like, I'm gonna fucking complete the shit out of it. This is, like, one of the last games I, like, really tried to complete. And, like, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I love this game. I was, like, so, like, in it. I was Ezio, you know, the whole way. And, like, I beat the game, and they're like, your completion is like, 29% or something like that. I was like, what? Like, how can you say that? I just did so much, and that was a bit of shock to me. Well, the other day I took a online color blindness test, and do you see this score? 0%. Like, that's kind of crazy. So, yeah, not that fun. That sent me down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Because, like, I'd never seen it. Like, I was like, okay, well, you're clearly colorblind on these things. Like, I had those tests before. I was like, okay, well, I'm colorblind, but I still see red. I was like, whatever. Like, fuck you, I see red. But, like, seeing that, like, okay, is it really, like, broken down this much where I couldn't get 1%? They weren't going to give me any red percent at all? Like, what is going on? I'm like, well, I'm just going to get some of those corrective lenses I've heard about. But then I went down an internet rabbit hole, and I'm like, well, those turns out to be scams. So don't buy any of those, because they're stupid, apparently. And in my case, it really appears that they wouldn't help much, if anything. So I'm not going to be doing anything like that. But you know what? What we do on this stream is we turn weakness into strength. We just turn it into strength. And I'm convinced that I don't see colors wrong. You see them wrong. No, but, you know, we see them differently, and we can make that, you know, a point of distinction. Or whatever. So, please accept that I will not... Whereas if I knew that I saw the color red perfectly, I might think like, okay, then... according to my formulas, the next thing to draw is a laser beam. That would be accurate. But because I have a disability. Yeah, I do. It's a disability, and you're going to have to bear with me with my color blindness. And I'm going to default to working instead on the range of colors that I feel a little bit more comfortable with, which is the source of the fire. And even in that, apparently, I don't see it well. I don't. It's okay. I'll be okay with that. And we're just going to do our best to accommodate. I'm going to draw light as I feel I see it. And it's okay. Fire in this scene could look like this. Like, something I'll admit to is that I hadn't quite... Like, to me, the yellow ends here. This is where yellow ends. Right? But according to these sliders... Oh, yellow does end there. Wait a second. Huh. That's hilarious. Okay, so yellow does end there. Well, to me, like, the yellowy part of yellow is like here. Once you start getting into the green part of yellow, it's a little much. All right. All I'm saying is sometimes these sliders help me check, like, where these hues delineate themselves. Because I have trouble with that. Also, is, like, firelight yellow? Not really. It's kind of like this warmish orangey. Like that, you know. And the way I like to paint it, a little bit. Let's go go a little bit like that. We're not painting it with an airbrush, that's for sure. Cool. Okay, now we see the light and the relative brightness. And now we can think about, like, how the scene relates to that. I suppose I could make it slightly brighter. All the way up. Resistant. It resists. It resists, but let's see what happens. There we go. But it makes me think, like, what if people see it so differently than I do? What does that mean? Okay. Starting again. With the keys. What happens when we take light and add light to it? We're gonna consider the brightness of, let's see here. Okay, the light from the fire is probably, if anything, pretty blocked for this bat. So it's not going to be extreme. It's not non-existent either. Like, how could it reach, right? But it's interesting, like, where it might actually penetrate is somewhere over here in this bat's wings. We might get some of that. You've been listening, getting stuff done. All right, I appreciate that. Listen, you're listening to the modern day Bob Ross. I'm gonna actually, you know who streams? Like, if you're not watching this stream, you should watch the Bob Ross Twitch stream, which is, I think, running 24 hours a day, and it's not more relevant in a technical sense, but it is absolutely probably, like, you should watch his stream, and then when you get sick of it, come to my stream. That is probably the best thing. Bob Ross's stuff is, and it's so funny because I hadn't really even thought about it until now, but his attitude about it is entirely the, like, there's positivity and then there's but like too easily it goes into like toxic positivity, and he's not one that like disavows the dark side, and you know, he'll like, I've seen some of his things and he'll be like, I had a terrible day today, but here we can come and we can, you know, we can dip our brush in the turpentine and beat the devil out of it. It's like this, it's like a practice. It's like a zen. And 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Here we're shooting for like 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. We're shooting for that on the Bob Ross scale. And it's okay. We can have a little edge. You know, I've got the funky lights. We're talking about Zelda and like modern day stuff, but you know, that's how I treat my streams. Like a stream late, so it's like come in, have a cozy vibe. Yeah. No, I dig that, man. I just want... I saw the other day, it's like... I thought it was like posted somewhere, or I saw it, but it was like... Make the stream you wish you had. Make the stream that you wish you could watch. I'm like, okay, yeah, I like that. Make the stream you wish you had when you needed it, or, you know. Now that doesn't look like Firelight yet. When we get everything all incorporated, it'll fit right into place. I guess if we're still doing the bats, let's get to this guy. Hey Inferno, welcome back. All is well. We are we have been I've been my eyes have been opened to the reality of the Bob Ross. The Bob Ross mentality, the Bob Ross aesthetic, or it's a vibe, right? That would be the I'm what they would call an elder millennial. So the whole like vibe and stuff, that is not something I have a long spoken understanding of, but I think I get it. I do think I get it. You were unsure who Bob Ross is? Hold on, this is worth a plug. Hold on. It's like, yes, you are sure who Bob Ross is. And if you're not, that's okay. It's just like, he is not... Bob Ross is, like... Oh my gosh, what is it? That's a commercial? Okay, we're not watching a commercial. Turn that off. Bob Ross is dead, but he streams on Twitch. And this is him painting. Bob Ross is the original paint streamer on public television who sort of, you know, stoned out people for generations have been watching his stuff. I really can't restream his stuff. That'll bust me, I think. But his aesthetic, well, his aesthetic is very... His aesthetic is wonderful. You know, we love it. But also, we don't demand much from it. What we love is his practice and the practice he espouses, which is 10 out of 10. And here on this stream, we seek to educate and simplify, demystify the artistic process, because there are many mistruths about art. And right now, one thing I'm hearing and seeing is that art is gate-kept. It's over for artists who are gatekeepers and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. Art is not gate-kept in the way that I understand it, but in an economic, like, business production way, yeah, there are always going to be like gatekeepers and stuff like that. That's a truth. But skill and talent are not gatekept. And creativity is not gatekept. That is not a thing. That is a if you are gatekept from creativity, that you are in a prison of your own mind. That is not the thing. Not in my imagination. It's simplify, but it's like it doesn't have to be super intimidating. Like, I'm not even paying attention to this. I'm thinking more about what I'm saying than what I'm doing. And the stuff will flow because I know the process is not people think of art as if it's like riddled with booby traps, and it isn't. It's not that way. I don't think it needs to be. I think there's like, what happens in art is that the foundational path is free and clear, but it's a long one. But it's not gatekept. There's no gates on the foundational path. On the shortcut path, it's riddled with landmines, and you will explode the second you put your foot down. But when confronted with the two paths, most people say, I want to take the shortcut because it's shorter, and I'm anxious, and I just want to be done with the drawing I'm on. And so they explode the second they start. But if you're not in a hurry, you can take the foundational path. And it's nothing but high fives and slow walking all the way, and you will end up with a great result every time. There's no booby traps on the foundational path. And it is the, I don't know, it's like, where's the appropriate analogy? It's like Pinocchio, where it's like, I'll go over here with these guys, and I'll smoke cigars, and well, it's like all that stuff is actually silly stupid too. But yes, there are mishaps that can happen, but none of them are life sentences in any case. Skill and talent aren't gatekept. They are not. They're not gatekept. They're not gatekept, and they're not even like inborn. A lot of people think they are. Creativity isn't gatekept. Your average person has an exceptional imagination. Has been my experience. But the way that like corporate structures are like, and there are gates. Like, absolutely, there are serious gates. And I have other theories about this stuff, too. There are serious gates that exist in the world that will discourage you and make you feel turned away. But as far as, like, if you were doing this for yourself or just for the internet, like a person who wanted to stream or do anything, there's no reason, like, and this whole thing, like, I streamed this entire composition from start to finish. I will be doing it from start to finish. And there's no part of it that's a mystery, and no part of it was necessarily hard. If you go back and look at how I conceived of the piece originally, like the sketch, like it's here. You know, the original sketch, again, I get that, like, okay, maybe if, like, you've never drawn before, like, this feels impossible. But, like, this is not a finished thing. This is, I very much drew it impulsively, just thinking about where things wanted to be given what was happening in my brain. I don't know. When you read a book, you should read Talbot's books, but because they're spicy. But when you're invested in a book, like, you give a shit and you feel for the characters or whatever, it will conjure up images in your brain that are indelible and real. They will leave an emotional impact on your psyche. They will stick with you as real experiences do. If that's true, if that has that effect in your brain, then you cannot deny that you have a substantial experience about the thing. Therefore, it shouldn't be rocket science to, as if some sort of crime had taken place and you needed to dictate to a police sketch artist the features and the situation in which the crime occurred. If the crime was true and you were there and you were not blinded by trauma, theoretically, it should be possible to pull from the imagination, the experience you had in your brain, the dream you had, the waking dream, and transpose it, even roughly, onto a piece of paper or dictate it to someone else, like an artist, professional, who they can transpose it for you, like a translator. That's what I do as a profession. Is people have written words and I transpose them into visuals. It isn't beyond anybody's ability to have an imagination, see it in their head, and then take steps to do something about it visually. I don't like, people can say like, oh, well, I can do XYZ, but I just can't. Hey, new person. News Okara. My parents always tell me not to pursue my goals and work towards a stable job like an accountant. That's what my fucking parents told me to do. And they are, both of my parents were professional artists. And they said, well, it's like, well, Max, how about you become like a banker? And they thought I was obsessed. Well, I'm like a little bit like intuitive with money, but I'm not a obsessed person with money. Like, I'm not into that, like on a, not like a banker, not like a crypto bro or anything like that. But, well, as it was like, my parents didn't encourage me as much as they should have to become an artist, but it was undeniable. I had to do it. News Okara has something to say. Mine was nursing. Okay, your folks got you into nursing. There can be chill sides to it, and especially investing. There's no judgment here. And by the way, whether or not you disavowed nursing or got into it, nurses are my favorite people. I'm very much this is a nurse and medical profession friendly stream here. Day trading, that's like gambling. I have friends who do that stuff. That's crazy. Those guys have no chill. But again, there's no check once a month on stocks. Very good. Mostly, as it is, like, I always considered from the beginning that deciding to become an artist was like taking a vow of poverty. You know, that didn't quite happen in my case, or, you know, time will tell. But, you know, having talent is not a bad thing to bring to the equation, and it's not gatekept. That is my purpose for this thing. Talent is not gatekept. We don't have to pretend like, I don't know. The world is not. Your parents are gonna have their own thing to say about whether or not you should be doing something else with your life. But speaking as an artist as a professional artist whose parents were professional artists, parents are always going to tell you not to be an artist. They're just always going to tell you to do that. And you have to repudiate them and say, I don't give a shit what you say. I'm good at this, and I'm going to give it a shot. That's what I did. Like, up until 10 years ago, I had been making a living as an artist for 10 years. And my mom was still trying to tell me to, like, get a real job. And she had been an artist her entire life as a professional. Worked at Disney for, like, 25 years. It's almost like testing your beliefs that counters your ideas. Testing your beliefs that counters your ideas. Well, it should be on, if you're referring to, like, what your parents are doing. Like, your parents are doing a good job of wherever your it's good mentoring to be. It's tricky. Like, I'm a parent myself, and like, I don't know if I would encourage my kids to be an artist, you know? It's tricky, but I do encourage them to make art. It always feels like it's a dangerous path to set someone on, right? You don't want to see other people risk failure willy-nilly. And if people are young and impulsive, it feels like everything they do is a risk. But I also know that you cannot prevent harm from coming to your children, or your loved ones, or yourself. No one is guaranteed a good or successful day, ever. If it happens, it's a blessing. There's no guarantees. That will never happen. What time does this stream end? Hardship and pain is inevitable. Eventually you'll stumble upon that in your life, yeah. That's the message for my kids. Yeah. Nuzo, my daughter had a prolonged battle with cancer when she was a baby. That is why I am so... She's fine now, but I, like, when I say, like I love nurses, like, it's, like, my love for nurses is, like, way higher than I can reach. You know, we spent a lot of time in the hospital. And that was a very shortcut to becoming, like, an expert parent, where you were like, okay, like, my daughter is in a daily struggle with life and death. And once we were out of constantly living in the hospital and reclaiming a normal life, the whole kind of phenomenon of your modern helicopter parent, like, that doesn't apply to me, because I know what real risk of life and death is for, like, kids. And, you know, it's like, okay, you know, go play on the playground, like, boo-boos and scrapes, like, none of, like, I'm glad you're getting scraped. I'm glad you need a Band-Aid. Like, if she has, like, those surface level scratches and traumas, like, I recognize that for what they are, which are minor things in the grand scheme of things. I love Filipino nurses because there are tons of them in LA. I'm based in LA, and they're probably 30% of the nursing staff at CHLA. Not a joke. Great nurses, yeah. Male and female nurses, yes. Filipinos. Oh yeah. No. It's all good stuff. Oh, you love my streams. Well, Inferno, I wish I could be more attentive to them, but okay, just so everybody knows, I upload my VODs to YouTube under Max Forward, MAXFWD. My channel gets no love because nobody gives a shit, but no. Don't worry about catching them, or don't, but there is no plan. This is, like, not a temporary thing. Like, I'm ride or die with this stuff, because this has filled a hole that I used to have fulfilled when I would go to actual productions, like at studios. I work and I'm based in LA, and I used to go pre-COVID. Like, I used to drive every day to a studio, and, like, the spiel I'm giving you, I would give to everybody else in real life, and have a sense of socialness that way. And since COVID, everything is work from home. I've become like an island. I don't feel like I have friends anymore, and I'm very desperate to blah 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 to say the things that have been welling up inside of me. And this is my out, because the studios aren't coming back. they still hire me. It's just everything's work from home now. They don't even have a physical presence anymore. The entire concept is foreign now. So watching them live are fun. I agree. I'm Inferno, I'm not sure where your location is. The most regular time I've been able to stream is from 4:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 6 a.m. That is the time of the stream. Today is an exception because my wife is out of town. My kids are sleeping over at a friend's house, of our best friend's house with their daughter and stuff like that. So nothing shady going on there. But it is very much a anomaly that I'm streaming now. What's my thoughts on Lightbox Expo for 2024? Is that happening this year? I've never been. I got that time to myself. This is it, and there's no better time for it. So Lightbox is a obviously that's like a creative arts symposium, if you will, that I've never been to and I've been curious about. You live in the UK, and the time is 6:36 p.m. England's just bad. Okay. Nuzo, I'm curious. Are you an artist? Is this a slowly? I'm trying to make this like an artisty stream. If I recall, is organized by Bobby Chu, and there are other creatives there. Yeah, I met Bobby Chu at Comic-Con back in like 2013, back when schoolism was like trying to get off the ground. Yeah. It was like they had their own booth with like no one around it, you know. Now it's like they're like entirely. Now he's like, fuck Comic-Con, I got Lightbox or whatever. Okay, I am not formally trained either. I am entirely self-taught in terms of like digital applications. I came up in the early 2000s as a digital artist when digital online YouTube courses didn't exist. Nothing existed. Yeah, I met... Well, I mean, I doubt he remembers me, but I remember meeting him. You went to 2022 Expo in person. Okay, are you native to LA? Are you in the area? I mean, Lightbox is... It's not walking distance, but I live in Studio City. So if you know where Lightbox is, you know... You might know that... Okay. The... Yeah, there's nothing, I mean, like, there might be. I don't think of schoolism as anything other than pretty good value for your money. I've taken schoolism courses. And since anybody's listening, let me quickly bust it out. Because I will never hesitate to drop a recommend to Nathan Fowkes, who is... absolutely artist to admire in terms of aesthetic and modern work ethic and experience and all that. Nathan Fowkes has DreamWork as schoolism courses that even at their most, like, you know, $4.99, $9.99, like the not like I was a professional for like a dozen years before I took his classes, and then that like helped me absolutely feel like I was ready to complete the arc from imposter syndrome to like, I think I actually get it now. I really do feel that. And it was Nathan. I've taken other workshops. Nathan's workshops, best value for your money, and a really admirable guy. So I want to just drop a name there. If you're going to spend money on an art course, if you do it through schoolism or something, but you find Nathan's classes, like, he really knows his shit. Like head drawing, like portraiture, landscape, but his pictorial composition class changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. You're taking art WAD. What is WAD? You live a bit... Oh, yeah. Okay, so, yeah. Lightbox is in Pasadena. You live a bit further from LA. I'm taking art WAD. What is a WAD? I'm not sure what that is. I got a text that said my friends have taken my kids to my pool, to their pool. They have like an apartment with a cool pool, so I'm gonna wrap it up pretty quick. But I'm glad to have gotten the start on the firelight. Let's do something kind of cool. Because I know people are watching right now, and I'm like, let's tease a little bit of fun stuff. So we see the skeleton here in the background. We've made our selection. Let's hide it. We're going to light up this skeleton a little bit. Hey, KJ. What's up? But what is WAD? What does that stand for? Founded by Antonio Staples. You're picking up, Max? 10 viewers. How do you know? No one... Well, maybe I shouldn't stop. Maybe I'll just keep going. It dropped. What do you mean it dropped? Now it's like at 0. Everybody dropped out. You're just watching the viewer count. It's all good. Don't tell me it dropped. Just tell me it's doubling every 5 seconds. Because I was ranting probably about Nathan Fowkes, but I love that guy. Ranges between 5 to 10 views. I don't care if anybody watches. This is just me in the mirror for me right here. This is me right here in the mirror. We'll do this. It's just me and me. Me looking at me, looking at me. That's the important thing. The max ego phenomenon is that's a past trait I used to have, but I still like dipping into it every once in a while. But KJ, thanks for joining. I'm not planning on streaming for It's You and the Cats on the Wall. Yeah, people are like, it's okay. I don't this is it's too much info, but I not too long ago I learned that my heart, not my heart, but my cholesterol is in a is at a range that would probably make most people spit out their coffee. Speaking of which. And heart disease. Oh yeah, these are my cats. Oh, let's see here. Oh, let me bust these out. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. Now we need the full screen for this. We need the full screen. All right. Yeah. What's the best view? Oh, and so in this reflection, you can see. Do you see the reflection? That's all my kids draw pictures, and I hang them up on the wall so I see them, but you guys don't see them. You guys get the clean for. You know, I'm gonna have to shut the window a little bit. Alrighty. Is that any better? I can't tell. This is my it's my first daughter. Not really, but you know, Emily was a beautiful black and white cat. Both of my cats have died. Emily died on the day before Thanksgiving when my daughter was in the hospital. It was a horrible, terrible thing. She had a saddle thrombosis, which is it's essentially like a deep vein clot that can happen to cats. And it's torturous, and we had to put her down immediately. She was immediately paralyzed and in terrible pain, out of nowhere. And at the worst possible time, because my daughter was in a severe medical state as well. Like, we were living in the hospital at the time. So that was terrible. And And Sir Hugh has recently passed. And Emily and Hugh were legendary cats. Amazing. Yeah, the kids' drawings are messy and on 1,000 scraps, so they're over there. Yeah, the cats were our first children, and you know, I honor them as such. But it's tricky. It's I'm full of love and regret with everything, but I wish. Well, they're still alive in here. Still alive in here, and their presence is ever present on my wall, at least. We're gonna do a little bit of skull coloring, skeleton coloring. Okay, well, they do. They live on forever. They are like ancient mythology deities. Okay. Well, when we add light to... Here, let's start again. So the base color for this skeleton is this. It's just a darkened, neutralized, pale yellow. And we're adding the brightness of fire to it, which means we brighten it overall. And then add pretty much equal parts, nearly equal parts, red and green, but more red than green. And then that's the color. Is it exact? No. Doesn't need to be either. We just apply it. And I'm having glitches now where my cursor is effing up. So it's probably a good time to... Oh, it went away. Cool. It was just the Google Images thing. Do you find it harder to sketch out the characters, color them, or add in minor details? I think hard is a sort of relative sort of term. I try to avoid hard work. My process sort of is about sort of seeing it simply and simplifying things, and my day job as a storyboard artist has really sort of forced the intuitive understanding of the steps of the thing. Like, we don't rush to a finish, we sketch it out first. We think about it, we think about all the possibilities, and then we think about which one is best before we even put, or before we even pick up the stylus or the pencil. This is just my way. Everybody can do things differently, but I don't like feeling like I make wasted efforts. I feel like I am like a lazy person, so I don't love to work hard just for the sake of working hard. But the hardest part, the part that, it's not so much the hardest part. The part that matters the most is the initial sketch. It really is. Making this was the hardest part. In terms of starting from nothing, literally nothing, a blank page, and getting to here. That was the hardest part. From here, it's like anything, right? It's like what's the hardest part of washing your car? Like fucking going outside and getting the bucket and getting the hose and actually starting to do the thing. Once you start, everything else is easy. Let us take a trip. Because it's dumb if I don't do anything like this. Let me think here. View my channel. go. Here's me. And we will go back in time. Videos. Because I upload all my old VODs. So what's the original VOD for this sketch? Here we go. Oh, that's the cleanups. Yeah, I remember this one taking a long time. Like, here's me cleaning up the, like, this original sketch. Sacrum. I'm like a baby. Going again back to the Latin. The sacrum is the sacred bone, and the Romans thought it was a sacred bone. How cute is that? Oh, you can't see. Here, let me move me. Body, it is often the last bone to decompose. That's fun. So the visual. The visual story of how this comes together is out there. And then the original sketch. Go back in time. Here it is. You should look at them. The look at this. I made this. Well, I posted it to YouTube 3 months ago, but I did it back in like November. To like a oh, this is fun. So see this. This is the original sketch, or the original artwork for this sketch existed as a piece of Zelda art from 20, 30 years ago. So you can see the similarities. The oh, okay. Well, the reference moved away. I'm not in control here. Old me. This is like Back to the Future. It's kind of funny. Look how young I am, and I've got short hair. You know.
Let's see how I'm drawing right now.
Oh, and my microphone is so terrible. So it's cringe to go and look, but you can look at how I'm starting. It is an evolution, but I don't skip steps. I think what I originally did in this case, because this is a sensible process. Again, it's like for my work, when I'm given time and they say, Max, we need you to learn about this product. Some of you might be listening, like I was a storyboard artist on several of the there's a video game called Apex Legends, and I was a storyboard artist on several of their more recent cinematic trailers. And it was a game I wasn't familiar with, and I took my time to well, I should have. I should say that they didn't give me any time to actually study the product, but I did actually steal some of my own time to study what I could about the lore. So I actually gave a shit about the characters and the product, and that helps. So what I did initially was develop a fluency with drawing the characters, you know, in order to honor the reality of like who they are. Like, you can treat them as real. That's just good business practice, and it makes things easier moving forward. You know, you're not fighting the reality of the thing.
If anybody steps in and they want to,
I can't stand my own audio on this, but here, let me.
Just an idea for a drawing. I will honor.
You hear me said I will honor. It's like the real thing. Like I'm still espousing the same stuff because it's fundamental. Before I started the sketch that we're working on in present day, I honored the original sketch. In hoping to elevate it, I wanted to understand it in its original sense. So I sketched it out from scratch, and we'll just fast forward through that a little bit right now. And so all I did in the beginning was make a study of the original sketch. And that helped me to understand what worked and what didn't work in the original sketch. Oh, and that's funny. Is that the original? Like, what was in the original sketch? We're gonna click. He's clicking on it. I'm clicking on it here. Okay, that's cool. Now you guys can't really see this unless I zoom in on it. Can I do that? Yeah. There's a statue here that whether or not it was really that visible, but in the background it looked like there was a statue. And I honored the idea of there being a statue in the background when I put the BMOS into the background of the present day sketch. Okay, so let's see here. So before I started my own sketch, I completed a sort of a fluency study of the original drawing. Now, the original drawing and the original artists that work on Zelda, I have nothing but respect for. But the way I would do things is different, and also the format is different. Like, the concept for this is, what is the idea of Zelda in a cinematic experience, like as if it was told via like a modern day game trailer or something, where our expectations for modern audience are a little bit more realistic, perhaps. So after completing that sketch and having a sense of fluency about the idea of the thing, but how to optimize it for like a modern audience, then became the next goal. And because I have spent the better part of 20 years learning fluency with the human form, now this pose for Link here, I'm not using a reference. This is from my imagination. The posing for the... I'm just thinking about what's most important. What is the most important thing to convey in the scene as we're scrolling through it? This is fun. This is like me recapping my own idea for the thing retrospectively. But you can see it's like I'm not thinking about like what is the expression on Link's face. Link's face is subordinate to the pose. Link's details like that are not important compared to getting the overall gist of the experience in. The original sketch, as you can see it, didn't do a great job of heightening the danger of Link and the dynamism. There is dynamism in the original sketch, but it's not heightened to be palatable to a modern audience where we're inundated with like action to the extreme. We're used to seeing crazy shit these days. So in order for anything to break through with any relevance, you have to dial it up. But then too much is too much. For a broader modern audience, like there has to be some understanding that a level of taste involved. It can't just be extreme. So where does that happy medium lie? And I just always sort of rely on my own personal instincts and experience and my sense of composition with the thing. And what we see here is, and I'm drawing this skeleton, the other skeleton, all that is from my imagination. How can I do that? It's because I've drawn skeletons thousands of times. Thousands of times in my head, thousands of times in real life. There's no doubt in my mind about the general concept of a scapula, even if that scapula isn't perfectly anatomically correct. Part of the reason I don't worry about that stuff is everybody's scapulas looks fucking different. You can't compare two scapulas and say they're exactly the same. There's no definition of a perfect scapula. There's no definition of a perfect face or a perfect anything. We can get very philosophical with it, but where I think a lot of people stop themselves in the creative process is it's not perfect, and it's like nothing is perfect. Nothing's perfect. It's just a practice. But it's a little interesting here. Like I see, I had the sword a little bit undersized, and then I know that for a fact that later on I increased the size of it to enhance the distortion. You can see I'm rotating the shield, making tiny adjustments so that the composition feels the way I want it to. But essentially, I want it to look like Link is chopping the fuck out of a skeleton's arm in the foreground while he's defending himself with a shield in the background. And that's the focus of the thing. everything is everything I add is subordinate to those means. And so if we scroll through a little bit, you know, oh yeah, see, I did myself a favor and I flopped it so that I could get a sense of whether or not the composition was working right to left, because you absolutely become blind to your own image sometimes. We step through it more. I'm adding more details. You can see I sized up the sword, getting a sense of the... I wanted a greater sense of like the lens distortion, and that increases the dynamism of the piece. Here I've rotated it to... Yeah, you go back a little bit. I'm not used to drawing upside down skulls, so I rotated the screen a little bit to get a sense of that. A little fine-tuning with my placement of Link. And then here, where I felt it would aid the composition, I've added the bats. Flopping every once in a while. That's the horizontal flip to get a sense of freshness in my eyes about how things are going. And at this point, like, the image dictates itself. The hardest part was everything up until... And so, how long was that? Let's see. From here to there, that's an hour, 17 minutes. And the sketch started... I was making my first marks at about the 26-minute mark. I mean, I'm not good at math, but that's about 45 minutes. That 45 minutes was the absolute pay attention to what the fuck I'm doing kind of thing. Everything after that is... It flows like water, because that's how it goes. Here I am stepping away to do nothing because no one's watching my stream or whatever. But the oh, and then I stopped and then I started sketching the Lionel, which is interesting because that was original. That was one of those original sketches, and I was like, how can we dynamize that up? And the Lionel is a lost part of this series because I'm just now realizing when I actually did it. It was apparently pretty early on. Let's watch this for a second because it's actually pretty interesting. Obviously, the Lionel is a modern day... they've brought back the Lionel, but at the time, it was like an ancient Zelda character from the very first series that really didn't have any... you can see what I'm doing. I'm adding all this fun depth, pulling out all the stops to make it look awesome. Putting it in a burning field. It's like, just add more drama. Add more drama to the thing. Like, all of a sudden, we've got high art. You know, I should come back and do a real Lionel piece. Because how cool is that? I'm not even sure if I did a good job with it, but the part of it was also honoring like the awkwardness of the original pose, but trying to enhance it for, again, a modern audience. So, yeah, interesting. Okay, so that's my very roundabout explanation of what is hard and what isn't in the sketch process. So, I hope that answers it. That's the hard part, is figuring out what the hell you want to draw in the first place and getting it to a place where you're ready to commit to it. Then the committing is not that hard. The execution, we can think of more or less as formulaic after the fact. I don't know if my spiel sent everybody off to do other things, but it's all good. I am gonna add a little bit of the light to this, hastily add light to the skeleton here. And I think if you guys are getting a sense, as I am, that seeing the juxtaposition of the cool blue light coming from basically the side of the camera, like from the viewer's POV, we have this blue light projecting onto things. And then having the rim light, or sort of backlit rear three-quarter light coming from the fire, illuminating things, giving that kind of teasing out the form from both ends has a really incredible effect that I can't wait to come back to. But it will have to happen on a different stream because I have to get my day on. My friends are wondering why I haven't picked up my kids from their house, and I don't blame them. So here, let's save out. Do an iterative save. Save it out like that. And I'm going to do a quick... I'm going to be in the habit of doing this, getting myself looking nice, and then doing the split screen so I can do like a fun thumbnail. Where I'm like reacting to my own shit. Cringe as it is, but it's all for the, like, what can I do? Like, just, oh, that's funny. What else? What else does it? Go like this. It's always, there we go. The heart's going on. Yeah. It's the Apple operating system does this cool stuff. But yeah, let's... Come on, don't make me look like an idiot. Okay, do it on the other side now. It works out better in my head, but whatever. The thumbnails there go like this. Oh yeah, I like to do the meme version, so it's like get like the shady guy. All right, that's enough. Okay, I don't know if anybody's listening. I don't monitor the view count, so whatever. 0, 10, 5, 0. Negative viewers, bots. It doesn't matter to me. If anybody is tuned in at all, I appreciate it. Helps keep me company in my lonely days as a modern artist, and this will continue. Hopefully tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. So hard. 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's the worst time ever, but that's the time I get to myself. I sacrifice it for you, the dear viewer. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Stay cool out there, and I'll see you next time. Adios.